Hamotzi eitzim kedei leva, says the Mishnah Kedosha on Daf Peitet, Amud Bet, 89b. Hamotzi eitzim kedei leva shel beit zakala. If someone carries wood, how much wood is significant that he's chayav chatat? Enough to cook a light egg, which we learned already is a chicken egg. Tivolin, spices, kedei l'tabel beit zakala. Enough spices to spice up this light egg, which is a chicken egg. Umitztarfin zeh zeh. And the different types of spices, they could, according to the Rambam, pepper and ginger, since they're used for the egg, they can join together, even if each one doesn't have the right amount, but together they do, since they all will be eaten together with this egg to spice it up. Klipe egozin, walnut peels, and they use them, the thin little skin around they use them for different, I think, dyes. Klipe rimonim, pomegranate peels, isatis is an herb that they take dyes out of. Upua, another grass that they get red dye out of it. All of them are kedei litzboa behen. Yeah, the amount that is significant that you'd be chayav chatat is if you carried an amount that you're able to derive from them enough dye for beged katan pisvacha. To dye a small beged, which they put, we keep saying this little beged, they put it on top of their snood, on their tichel, on what they covered their head. They would weave this little thing on top. In Yiddish they call it spitzel. You know, they have like on top of their shade a little thing. So, something like that. It was the olden day one. And fine. So that's a small little beged. So if you have enough dye to dye that beged, that's a significant amount of dye. So as long as you're carrying enough of these peels or herbs or grasses to make that amount of dye, you're in business. For a chatat. Meira glayim, urine, neter uborit. See what they are soon. The different types of cleaning agents. Kmulya v'ashlog. Also, all these are cleaning agents. Even urine, once it sits for a long time, we'll see, and it gets bad, the urine, old, it's good for cleaning. Kedei lechabez beged katan, pisvacha. Same thing, to wash that beged katan, pisvacha. Rabbi Yehuda omer kedei la'avir et haketen. Rabbi Yehuda says even less. The halacha is that a cloth that has beged dam nida cannot be purified unless the stain of the nida, the blood, is entirely out. Otherwise, it still has the tumah inside it. One of the ways to clean it is with these samimonim, and if there's enough of these samimonim to remove that stain, that's also enough, even less than the shear of the Tanakama. Says the Gemara, Tanina Chodazimna. We already taught the first halacha about wood, that it's enough to cook an egg. Why are we repeating it in the Mishnah? It's already the last Mishnah, Kone Kedei Lasis Kulmus, 2 Mishnahs ago, a few Mishnahs ago. Reed, the Kone is the feather stick, is enough to make a kulmus. But if it was cracked or ruined and you couldn't make a quill out of it, it's kedei levashel beit zakala shebebeitzin. Terufa unetuna beilpas. It's enough wood, enough of those feather sticks, to be able to cook a light egg of all eggs, which is a chicken egg, that is beaten, scrambled, and mixed with oil, placed into a pan. So it's very easy to cook that egg, one of those eggs. We already said that that's the shear of eitzim, so why would we repeat it again in this Mishnah? So the Gemara says, the leichazu lemidi, because it's a cracked feather stick and it's not worth anything. The only usage. You have a question?
Yeah, what is it talking about all these examples to take out if you're liable? Like
If you
carry it?
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean carry, take them out, I mean carry them. So what's the significant amount of shear? So it has to be something significant that you could do something with it. So you would think that that's only for that quill that is not usable for a quill. It has no usage. So the only thing you could use it for is to make a fire. That's why it's that shear, leichazu lemidi. But wood, this is not feathers, this is wood, our Mishnah. They can be used as a tooth for a key. When they made keys, they made them with little pieces of wood. So it has another usage. So afilu kolshu. So maybe you should be chayiv even on a little piece of wood, because you could really technically use it for a key tooth, and therefore the shiur should be even less. You should be chayav. Kamash Shalom, the Mishnah comes to teach you, no, you're not going to be chayav chatat for that amount. You need to have the amount that can cook this egg. That can be the firewood for this egg. Why? And why don't we go with the smaller shiur? Because we have shchicha ve'ena shchicha. If you have two usages, one is common and one is not common, you go with the usage. And since generally we did not use wood for the teeth of the key, it was used much more for this. Therefore, the shear is this for the cooking of the egg. Okay. How much spices? Enough to spice a light egg. The kasha is that in Arla, you know what Arla is? The first 3 years of a tree's produce, you cannot benefit from it. So it says there, if you have tvalin from Arla or from kilayim, things that were grown, forbidden mixtures, and it's asur to eat, or benefit shnayim v'shlosha shemot v'min echad. If you have 2 or 3 that are different, but they're from the same name, like white pepper, black pepper, long pepper, right? So, but they have different names. Or you have 3 different spices, asurin. They are asur, of course, but if they come together to spice up a food, and each one alone, you put too little of the pepper to really finish spicing up the food. But together with the other types of forbidden spices, now the food has a real good spicy taste. It has a flavor. So now what it does is it prohibits the entire dish because it's giving flavor to the dish. Even though each one of the forbidden things are their own thing, and each one by itself, it doesn't have enough to give flavor to the food. But now they all together, they come together and they prohibit it. The Amar Chizkiah said, "B'minei metika shanu, hoyu ru'uy lematik kedeya." We're talking about types of spices that have sweet. So that's the type that the Mishnah is talking about, since they're able to sweeten up the dish. Okay, even though each one can't sweeten it, but they all are sweet types of spices. And therefore they all together, they can all join as one family to make a shiur, a significant amount of shiur, that we together sweetened the dish. So the Gemara says, the only reason is because they're all ra'ui to sweeten the dish, the pat. But if not, you can't. But in our Mishnah, it doesn't differentiate between types of spices. It's mashva even spices that are not mine mitika, can be mitzaref. It says they're all mitzarefin. So the Gemara says, no, hachanami chazul lematik. Here too, you're right. In our Mishnah, it's the same thing. They all have to be able to be nematik v'kedera and come together. It can't be random. One is lematik, one is levis, one is that. Then they can't work together. It has to all be lematik as kedera, and then they can be mitzvah. Fine. Next case in the Mishnah was the peels of the walnut, of the pomegranate, and these different types of herbs, satis and pu'ah, that they derive, and they create dye out of these things. So what is the amount that you have to carry outside that you'll be chayav chatat? A significant amount. Enough peels that can create dye, enough dye to dye this little beged katan that they would weave onto the head covering of a woman. I was like a small little beged. That's the amount of shit. So the Gemara asked the kasha. I will ask you a contradiction from the following Braita. The Braita says, if someone carries out samanim, shruyin, dyes that were soaked in water, the amount is kedei litzboa behen dugma. Remember we had this? The amount that the guy wants to show you an example. So he has like a little piece of cloth, and litzboa dugma li'ira. And he would show that to the buyers, and it was used li'ira. And they stuffed up these little tubes, the tubes that the weavers would use. They would put different threads inside those tubes. So they would stuff it up with this cloth, and that shear is actually smaller than this beged on top of the snood. So the Gemara is asking a steer, which one is it? Since a person doesn't die, and no one goes to die initially that small amount, when a person needs dye, he doesn't die unless he needs it at least to dye that beged katan, which is a larger amount. So initially, the amount of dye that you need, the amount of peels that are going to create this dye or skins from these fruits, are the one that a person would go ahead to create that amount of dye. Now, what about that braita that says which is a smaller amount? That is because you already have the dye. So the amount of dye, once you have it already, that you would be matzniya, you would keep in your home, that's significant, you wouldn't just throw it out, is the amount, which is a smaller amount. But here, you don't have the dye yet. That the case over there was you had samonim, let's say you already have the dye, a little bit. So how much is significant? Once you have it, maybe you'll keep even this amount. Because this is enough, so I would keep this away in my fridge, in my dye closet, whatever it is, right? So, but if I'm carrying raw materials to create dye, nobody would give any significance to the raw materials unless it's enough raw material to create more than that. The dye that's the amount that would be enough to be tzeveya, the beged cotton al pi tzvacha. That's a larger amount. Meraglayim. Okay, let's go to the next part of the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that if you carry out all these types of cleaning agents like urine, neter, borit, kamulya, ashlig, also it has to be enough to wash this beged cotton. Meraglayim, tonam meraglayim ad ben aboim yoy. Has to be at least 40 days old. Okay? So that they should get really sour, and that way they'll be a really good cleaning agent. Many Rishonim argue with this pshat in Rashi. Because they have a Gemara that sounds like the Gemara says that after 3 days it works. And what they say the Gemara means over here is that once it's 40 days old, it doesn't have any power anymore. It's a machlokes Rishonim how to learn. Either you have to wait 40 days, or no, after 40 days, it better be less than 40 days old. Otherwise it has no koyach. Neter, what is neter? Tana, neter Alexandris. Neter from Alexandria. The v'loy neter ampanterin. But not the neter from ampanterin, because even though they use it for kibbutz, but it's not enough. The Meiri says it's a much larger shear, because it's not as strong as the neter from Alexandria. The neter from Alexandria can that's the shear, the neter that can. It's a little bit hard to understand this din because the Mishnah is talking about a certain amount that can wash this beged cotton pisvacha, right? So, what do I care what type of netter it is? Whatever netter you are, whether you're strong or not strong, it's the amount that you need to be able to clean that beged cotton. I'm not sure exactly. Fine.
So this basically allows you to carry small amounts.
People, yeah.
On Shabbat.
Midoraita. It's because we're talking about midoraita when you chayav chatat. Midirabanan, you can't carry even less.
Is this with an eruv or without an eruv, or does it not?
This is all without an eruv. With an eruv you can carry.
Yeah.
Without an eruv, but the amount that you be chayav chatat. Whenever it says almost 99% of the time that it says in Shabbat chayav or patur, it means that this is the amount you chayav, but less than that is midrabanan. It's a problem. So it's not like you could say, oh, I'm taking out less than that amount so that I can carry it. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking that people don't use neter and panterin to clean a beged tzvacha. That's the only pshat I can come out with. Because since you'll need so much, so then l'maisa. So what share do you want to give to it? So what amount would be chashuv?
It's just for that type.
But it's the smallest thing to wash, so I'm saying so. I don't understand what the Gemara really is saying exactly here. You want to help me? Do you have a Gemara there with? Can I have your Gemara for a second? A second. Natron.
So what does the dye have to do with anything? I don't understand this.
It's very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Like if you take out the amount that could clean a beged cotton, even if you could clean a beged cotton, maybe it wouldn't be chayav. That's what it means. I think maybe. Why? It could clean the beged cotton because maybe people didn't use it since it wasn't strong, even though it could clean it.
Maybe it's the opposite. It doesn't have to be mama strong. Maybe this is the lowest kind. From the lowest kind, you need this amount, right? From the
But for the other one, the ampanterin,
that's a lot more stronger. For that, even less than that might be.
That would be a beautiful pshat in the Gemara. The problem is that they don't say that.
This is talking about the soap.
They say the Meiri says the opposite. So I'm not sure what he wants exactly.
How much soap is needed to clean the small piece that they used to put under the head covering? how much of that soap, and there's two different kinds of soap. The one soap, it's like, I'm guessing that people usually use the soap.
Wasn't it like powder?
No, I'm not sure the soap. I don't think it was powder, I think it was yitzika, like a solid.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Solid. Yeah.
Natron. Natron. I don't know what it is. Okay, weiter sagt der Gemara. Borit, someone of you the Zechol. Borit is sand. Really? V'atanya haborit v'achol. There's a brighter that counts borit next to sand. So obviously it's not sand. Elamai borit kabrita. Kabrita is gofris. Gafrit is sulfur. So it's a cleaning agent. Meitve. Hosifu alein. There's a brighter that says that they added to the different species that are asur in Shemitah. They added habitzin, le'inun, borit, and ahal. Okay? So they added all these different types of species that are also subject to the laws of Shemitah. If you're telling me that borit is kabrita, meaning sulfur, are you going to really tell me that sulfur is subject to the laws of Shemitah? We learned in a Braita, the rule for Shemitah is kol sheyeshlo ikar, yeshlo shvi'it. Anything which has a root, that takes root, that's rooted in the ground, has the laws of Shemitah. Meaning, you have to be mafkir, you have to make it ownerless, you're not allowed to sell it in the 7th year, you're not allowed to do business with it, you have to give it, you have to be mafkir, the laws of Shemitah. But if it doesn't take root in the ground, then there's no laws of Shemitah to it. So, sulfur is just a piece of the ground. It's like a mineral found in the ground. It doesn't take root in the ground or anything like that. So obviously there's no Shemitah that's subject to it. So how could you tell me, now there's a Braita that says that Borit has Shemitah laws that apply to it. So obviously Borit cannot be Gafrit. Elamai Borit Ahala. What's Bafrit? Borit is Ahala. Ahala is some sort of detergent. Yeah, some sort of I think they call it what do they call it? Aloe that you use for kibbutz. It says the Gemara ve'atanya ve'aborit ve'ahala. There's a Braita that says borit and ahala together. Borit can't be ahala, then you wouldn't list them as two separate things if they're one and the same. So the Gemara answers trei ahala. Trei gavniel, there's two types. Meaning, one is called borit, and the other one they call ahala. But they're Esev Saboni. Irbano Shebunaira. There's a Rashi, it has two different ones. Okay, fine, two different herbs, but they're both from the same. Kimolia, what is that? Amrav Yudah Shlof Dutz. So says Rashi, Lo Yisparish Aval Kach Shemai. Rashi says, I don't know what it is. Why does Rashi have to tell you? He didn't have to tell you anything. He could have just not written a Rashi there. Yeah, Shlof Dutz, everybody knows what it is. Rashi says, Lo Yisparish, it's not explained to me. But that's its name. Now, the Rambam writes, and the Rabbeinu Vadim Matura, they describe it as a grass that's called in Arabic alkali. It's a whole bunch of different herbs gathered together with salt in places that are very alkaline. Okay, ashlag. Omar Shmuel, Shaltinu l'chol nuchusa yama. What is ashlag? What type of cleaning agent is that? Because that's one of them in the Mishnah, right? What is it? I asked all the sailors of the sea. They go around, they see all the things that grow in the sea, they go to other countries. So I asked them, V'amr Shonana Shmei. They told me its name is Shonana. Umishtakach benukva demaganisa, and you could find it inside the holes of the pearls, inside the pearls. Umafkile beramtze de farzela. And the way you extract it is with this long iron nail. I don't know what it's called in English. Maybe they have a name over there for shanana. Shanana Shmei, right before the Mishnah. He asked all the sailors of the sea, and they told him its name is Shanana. I don't know what it is. You find it in the pearls.
Inside the pearls? Or the inside the clam?
Pinukva de Marganisa.
I think inside the pearl.
In the pearls, the Marganisa is the pearl.
I have to have a long.
Does it say what it is? On the bottom it doesn't say anything? No footnote there?
There's no footnote.
What does it say? Just Shanana is its name?
And they told me that the name is Shonana.
Keep going.
And it found the holes of the pearls, and they remove it with a pointed iron instrument.
No footnote. Shanana. I guess it's some sort of, inside the pearl, some sort of cleaning agent. So now you know what to do. If there's a lot of shortages for all the essentials. If you run out of tide, take your wife's pearl necklace, squeeze it out right into the washing machine. Okay. It's good that our wives don't watch this, right? I'm just joking. Pellet, kolshu. Okay. But it's interesting that they use that, no? Weren't pearls precious? Pearls. So why were they extracting things out of them to clean things? What? Yes, I'm saying, so what? That's what they're going to use it for? Interesting. You have to have a lot of them, no? To clean something, I'm saying you have to have thousands of pearls. How are you going to get enough to... Not sure. Okay, pilpelet. What's pilpelet? What's pilpelet, Rabbatai? Pepper. Peppercorn. Kol shehu. Any bit. Okay? So any drop. So Rashi says here, the Einu Pilpul Shalonu. It's not our pepper. In the Western Europe, it's not Rashi's pepper. It's a different thing. Okay? Because Rashi holds, many say, first of all, some say because it's called pilpelet instead of pilpel. Others say because if it's regular, the pepper that Rashi had, so then they made spices out of it. So the last Mishnah already told us that the spices are enough in order to cook into to the matek, it's and all that. So therefore the shear would not be fit. So this pilpel is something else. Kol shehu, to drop. Well, what's so good about a drop? Why is that significant that you'll be chayav chatat, that you're ready? So we'll see in the Gemara. Itran is that we had the itran, right? Bamemed likin. They extract it through heat from the zefet. It's like a clear liquid. What do they call it again? From the tar, from the pitch, the neft, what do they call it in English? They extract it from, it's like a smelling...
Tar?
Yeah, it's a clear liquid that comes from pitch, from when you heat it up. It looks like an oil. What do they call it in English? Itran. Second
Kerosene.
Kerosene. Is it kerosene? Do they call it kerosene? Oh, that's neft. Kol shehu. Any drop. We'll see why. Mine bisomim. Smelling spices that are nice for smelling. Umine matris. And types of metals. Kol shehin. Any bit. Me'avdim mizbeach. Ume'afara mizbeach. If someone carries lior into the Rishut Rabim from the stones of the Mizbeach, or from the earth of the foundation of the Mizbeach, or mekek svarim, the dust of svarim, okay, like of scrolls, the dust, umekek mitpichoteim, or the dust that was formed from the coverings of these svarim, kolshu, even a drop is significant. Okay?
The dust?
Yeah. Why? What's so great about that? So Rashi says, first of all, that they're eaten by these worms, right? The bookworms. And it spoils them, and it gets this little, the name of it is mekek. And the reason why it's called shu, says the Mishnah, is shematzniyin oisel negoinzon. Because anything that's holy, Rashi says, requires geniza, requires to be buried. So, even if you bury a tiny drop of these things, that's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to bury any drop of these things. So therefore, since it's a mitzvah to bury any bit of it, so every drop of it is very significant. Because you could do a mitzvah with this, and you're supposed to do a mitzvah with this, and therefore, you're chayav. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Afal moitzi b'sham she'avodah zara." Even someone who carries misham she'avodah zara, that means items that serve the avodah zara, kol shehu yuchayev for even a drop. Shenemar v'lo yidbak b'yodcha me'uma min ha'machirim. It says that your hand should not be attached to anything, even a drop of them. Okay, so since the Torah considered even a drop of something that serves avodah zara as something disgusting that you have to get your hand away from, which means there's a prohibition even on a little bit of it, so therefore a little bit of it is significant. So therefore, if you do carry that on Shabbat, even a little bit of it is already something that the Torah is repulsed by, and there's an Aveira, and therefore the halacha is that you're chayiv on carrying it on Shabbat. Okay, now so the Gemara starts like this: Pilpelet kolshu l'may chazi. Why is a little bit of pepper corn good? L'reach hapeh, for bad breath. That's what they used. So itran kolshu. What is this? The kerosene. What do they call it? Not the kerosene. I don't know what they call it. This. Yeah, the maichazi litzilchata. If a person has a headache, so it was good for it. So even a little bit is significant. Mine bisamim kol shein. Ton rabbanon. The rabbanon taught in a braita hamotzi reach ra kol shehu. If someone carries a substance that emits a very foul odor, he's chayiv kol shehu. And what they used it for? They used to use it. They used to put these things in a room. There was a sick person or a little child, and they wanted to ward off all the mazikim, all the the demons and these things. So they would have this like bad smelling thing in the room, like a off spray for the mazikin. They had these different substances. So the halacha is even a drop of it, shemen tov, good types of oils that they would place in those oils. Remember, they would mix the oils with bisamim to make it. They perfume the oils, right? They make perfume. Kolshu, even a drop of it, because since they placed bisamim, how much bisamim do you need? We already said a drop, so here's a drop. Al gaman, kolshu. If someone carries wool that they paint, that they dye in purple purple dye, it's kosher, even a drop of it. Because they would use this purple wool also as a very nice smelling thing. Ubtulat avered, and a young rose, even achas, even one. Okay? So that's the beginning of the Braita. So that is the Braita, and the Gemara is saying that Bisamim is not only chayav on the Bisamim, but anything that it's shaykh to the Bisamim, like all these types of things, you're also chayav on Kol Shu, and by B'tulat Avered is one. The next part of the Mishnah is Mine Matris Kol Shein L'may Chozu, says the Gemara, what are they fit for? Tanya Rabbi Shimon Elazar Im Shekin Roy Lasas Man Darbon Koton. Even a little bit of metal you chayiv, because they would use even a little bit of metal to put it at the head of the stick, that they would always prod the animal. So at the end of it, they put a little piece of metal, just a little one. So, therefore, even a little bit of metal is already significant. You can do something with it. Someone says, I promise to bring iron to the Bedek Abayit, to the Beit HaMikdash. He's promising. He's donating iron. Acherim say, don't bring less than 1 amma by 1 amma. What's an amma by amma? It's like 2 feet by 2 feet worth of iron. So, otherwise it has no purpose. So the Gemara explains, the Maichazia, what do they need an amma by amma? Rav Yosef l'chal ya'oriv, to drive away the crows, the what are they called again? The ravens. On the top of the Beis HaMikdash, they had these different like what are they called again? But they had the pieces of the roof tiles. They had these tiles that were an amma by an amma, and they would knock in metal into them so that the ravens shouldn't gather over there. They have it today. They do it. I just saw it yesterday in the gas station, the spikes on top. I saw a whole bunch of birds inside the thing because they didn't cover they just go over it. You have to do it right. Okay? So, the Ikad Amri, and others say that don't bring Mikal Ya'oriv. V'kama Amr Yosef Amal Amma. The right girsa in the Braita is it's the opposite. It's the same thing, but it's just what did he say exactly? Did he say Amal Amma? Or did he say, and Rav Yosef explained that it was L'chal Ya'oriv, or did Acherim say it's Kal Ya'oriv, and Rav Yosef explained the amount is Amma ba Amma. Fine. Mechoshet, if a person promises to bring copper, Lo Yivchot Mima'a Kesef, which is a sixth of a dinar. And that is the smallest amount of copper that's considered significant. Okay? So when a person wants to give something to Beit HaMikdash, he doesn't mean to give them something that's very insignificant. He wants to give them something significant. So this is the first level of significance in copper. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Lo Yivchot Mitzinoro Ktano Shel Nechoshet. Rabbi Eliezer says that he shouldn't give less than a small fork, copper fork. L'may chazia. What's a small copper fork for? Amrabaya shemechatetin bo et ptilot umekanchin hanerot. What they do is they cut up the wicks that were burnt from the nerot of the Beit HaMikdash. They cut them up into small pieces so that they light beautifully, and they're able to clean out the nerot, the lamps, from all of the ashes that are inside. So that's the smallest shear. Mekek, Svarim, Meket mitpachat. All the dust of the Svarim and their coverings. Even a kol shehu is chayiv. Why? Mekek is the name of this worm that eats up the Svarim, and it ruins the Svarim. It rots them and it makes them into bookworms. It makes, right? When you open up that thing, you see it's garbage. So, Amar Rav Yehuda Mekok Tesifrei. The worm of the Tzarim, Tchach de Shiroi. The worm of the silk, the Ila de Invei, and the worm of the grapes, Upeh de Te'ene. Peh is also the worm, it's called the peh of the figs. The Ha de Rimone, and the worm of the pomegranates, Kulu Sakanta, they're all dangerous to eat them. Meaning to say, besides that they are prohibited, but they're dangerous. And you have to be more careful with danger than with prohibitions. There was a Talmud that sat before Rabbi Yochanan, and he was eating figs. I'm feeling these like thorns. So he understood that it wasn't thorns, it was this. Omar Le said, Katle Peledain. This peh, Katle Peh Ledain. It means like kill the worm, or this worm is killing this one. Meaning to say he understood that it was actually this dangerous killing worm. I'm not sure what the Gemara is trying to teach from this, but the Chachamim understood what they were. They existed. I'm not sure if they still. Someone showed me a video actually. You ever saw that video? No, the grapes in Eretz Yisrael. It's a horrible video. That like little grapes, they just have like little tiny brown dots on them. It's normal, little. So you think it's just a brown dot, and then they zoom in, and they show how this worm just crawls right out of every single one of those brown dots. It's like whatever. I don't know if that's the ones in America. I don't know if they're Israel. They made a big thing of it. Someone sent it once to somebody, showed it to me. I don't know. Hamitzi kupat orechlin. Check it out. Someone who carries out kupat orechlin, the box of the peddler box. Afal pisha yeshomin in harbe, even though he peddled many different types of spices and perfumes for ladies, okay? In that big box, he had small little boxes. There's all sorts of little boxes inside that large box. He's only chayav one chatat, because it's all considered one carrying. Okay? Even though there are different types of species in there, and different types of things, it's one big hoitzah. That's the chidush. If someone carries out garden seeds, then it's even less than a dried fig. Okay? Again, why? Because now we know that for food, what are you going to do with these seeds? You're going to end up eating them, right? You could eat them. You could eat these seeds. So food has to always be a dried fig. So why is this less than a dried fig? Says the Mishnah, because since it has two usages, they're both shchiach. And this one's also shchiach, to plant them. And for the planting, it was very significant, less than the shear of a gregaris. Fine. Even if the only thing he carried out was 5 seeds, okay? Now, less than a dried fig, fine. So let's say a dried fig is like this. So you take out a whole bunch that are a little bit less than dried. How many seeds could you get in here? Many, right? So Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir says even 5 seeds, you're already chayiv. Okay? Because that's already a chosh of a shear, because you can use that for one row. To plant one row. Okay? Okay. Zera kishuin, shnayim, zera dilun shnayim. Zera Pela Mitzvah Shnayim. So, if someone carries out, kishuin are like melons or cucumber seeds, you need 2 of them. Diluin, squash, 2. Poila mitzri is a certain type of Egyptian bean, legume, l'shnayim. Why? Because they're very choshuv. And since they're very choshuv, everybody agrees that even 2 of these are very choshuv. Chogav chay toir koshu. A live kosher grasshopper, which they would generally use for children to play with. We'll see soon why it has to be kosher. Has to be even koshu, even the tiniest one. Met, but if it's already, this kosher one is not alive, kigregeres, now it's used as food, people would eat it. So therefore the shear has to be, nobody plays with it anymore, it's not jumping around. So now it's food, right? People would eat it, the one that was kosher. So that's the size of a regular grogeret. Tziporet kramim ben chaya be'meita kol shehu. Tziporet kramim is also a type of locust. Okay? That's whether it's alive or dead is kol shehu. Why? Shematzino tal refuah, because they would keep it for a refuah. We'll see what refuah was for. Even a person who's motzi, a non-kosher locust that's alive, it's kol shehu, because they use it for a little child. Okay? And the Tanakama obviously disagrees. He says if it's not kosher, they don't use it for a kid to play with. Why? Because they're worried that the kid is going to pop it in his mouth. And it's not kosher. So you only play with kosher locust. How many times did I tell you? That's what he gets. African president. That's Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and the Tanakam. So the Gemara goes back and says that if you carried out garden seeds, it's only if you carried out close to a dried fig, less than 1, or according to Rabbi Yehuda, 5 seeds. So the Gemara asks the Kasha Urimini. The Mishnah said before, Zevel v'choil hadak. If someone carries out fertilizer or fine sand, what's the shear? Kedei lizabel kelach shel kruv. Divrei Rabbi Akiva v'chacham kedei lizabel kresha. Either enough fertilizer to fertilize 1 stalk of cabbage, or according to Chachamim, 1 stalk of leek. So you see that 1 stalk, 1 vegetable is chashuv. So the amount of fertilizer to fertilize 1 vegetable, depending which one, is already considered chashuv. So why when it comes to seeds, do you need more than 1 seed? 1 seed can make that grow. So that should be chashuv. Amar Rav Papa, hadazriya, hadalezriya. The Mishnah that we brought before is talking about seeds that were already planted in the ground. So now, they're already growing. They're considered very significant. I'm excited about my cabbage or my leek. So now, whatever I take out, I'll take things out to make sure that it grows nicely. So that's chashuv. However, over here, we didn't yet plant it. So how much would a person initially bother himself to go and plant not 1 seed? Here, a person's not going to go and plant 1 seed. So the Gemara says zera kishuin. Now, but by kishuin, it's already just 2 seeds. It's already chashuv. Tana rabbanon. Amoitz you got even. Im linetiyah shtayim. Im leachilo kim loy fi chazir. If a person's holding seeds and they are ready and they're made for planting, then 2 of them is chayav. If for eating, then it's the amount that fills up the mouth of a chazir. Okay? Even though he doesn't bring up chazirim because it's also for a Jew, but he's going to sell it to a goy. The kama b'loifchi chazir, achas. And how much fills up? 1. And these garinin are not regular seeds. These garinin are the pits. They're date pits. 1 date pit is chashuv enough is large enough to fill up the mouth of the pig. So im lahastik, but if you want to use them for fuel, for fire, kedei levashel beitza kalo. Im lecheshbon, but if you want to use them to make math, they used to have these. They would use them to calculate things. So shtayim, you need 2. Acherim oimrim chomish. Others say 5. Okay, because once you have 5, then you start making calculations. If someone carries 2 hairs from a horse tail or a cow tail, chayav. Why? Because that was a significant amount that they would keep. They wouldn't throw out in order to create some sort of net for trapping birds. Miksha shel chazir, the hard bristling hairs that were found on the spine, the back of the chazir, even achat. Why? Because the shoemakers would use them to sew up, to put them on the top of the needle for sewing. And they would be used kind of as a needle. Tzurei dekel, if someone carries out these folded pieces of the dekel of the leaves of a palm, a date palm, shtayim, 2 of them is already chayav because they would make these sort of baskets. That was significant. Okay, that was a complete weave. Torei dekel, the stuff that grows around the dekel on the bottom, the soft types of wool that grew around it, is achat. Even one of them, you're already chayav because they're already significant. Tziporet kramim ben chayav b'meita kolshu. If you had this little type of locust, it's called tziporet kramim, whether it's alive or dead, even the smallest one, my tziporet kramim, what is it? The Gemara says, Omarav, palya biari. It's palya biari, that's what it's called. So what do you do with this? It was found in a very young date palm that only had 1 layer of this sieve, of this wrapping. And we always talk about this sieve, had the column around it. And so that's where they used to hang out. That's where they got their food. They hung out over there. And it was made to open up for wisdom, to give a person wisdom. Now, what do you do? How do you do it? You eat the right half of it, upalga dismale, and you place into a copper tube. The chosin labeshitin gushpanki. Man, we had a gemara that was very similar to this, and you seal it with 60 different types of seals. Okay, it just means with all sorts of different materials, wax, tar, pitch, all sorts of different things. And you hang it on your left arm, and how do you remember how to do this? You remind yourself from a pasuk, Leiv chacham limino, v'leiv ksilis moile. Meaning, the heart of a fool is to his left side. So the fool has to open up his heart. So therefore he puts this tube with all this, the left half of this grasshopper in the tube on his left hand. And he could become as wise as he wants. And after he decides that he's wise enough, he eats the other half. The Eloi, because if he doesn't eat the second half that was in the tube, mi'aker talmudoi, he'll forget all of his Torah learning. Obviously, it was a kosher one, right? It's very interesting. Rabbi Yehuda says even if you take out a non-kosher locust, even the smallest one is chayev because the little kids, as long as it's alive, the kids would play with it. But Tanakama is still a loy. And the Tanakama doesn't hold the kids play with it. My time, a dilma ochile, because maybe he'll eat it. And you're not allowed to cause a child to do an aveira. Okay? And even though the halacha is that there's a machlokes, but a lot of hold that if you see a kid eating something that's not kosher, Bezdin is not mechuyev to separate him, only the fathers. But you're not allowed to feed him biyadayim. Okay, because there's an isser of lo ta'achilumi. You're not allowed to feed a child non-kosher or other averot. If a child does an avera, it could be that nobody has to really take him away from the avera unless it's his father for chinuch. But to actually make him do the avera, that's an isur. So the Gemara says, "Ihachi tornami." So then, why are you saying that a significant amount is a tahar one, a live locust that is kosher? There, the Chachamim say, "Oh, that we're not worried that he's going to eat it because it's kosher. So if he eats it, it's kosher, right?" So that one is significant because the kid might play with it. 1 second. Is it kosher while it's alive? No. So maybe the kid, while he's playing with it, will just pop it into his mouth. That's also, it's also not kosher. So even if it's the species, the type of kosher species, but it's alive. Rav Kahana was standing before Rav, and he was passing over this kosher type of locust by his mouth. Omar lei, so Rav told Rav Kahana, Shakle, take that out of your mouth. So people shouldn't say mecha ka'achale. People are going to think, if you go like this, remove it from over there. Don't go like this with the live thing. Because people think you're eating it. And what's wrong with eating alive? You have to eat shchita. Do you need shchita? You don't need shchita. So why can't you eat it alive? The answer is because people are going to think that you're being over on the Isra of Balta Shaktzos Nafshei Seichem. Meaning, you're not allowed to eat things that are disgusting in the eyes of people. Since eating a live one is disgusting, so therefore it's asur, not because it's not kosher, but because it's Balta Shaktzos. It's another Isur. So therefore, why are we saying that the shear that's significant to carry is a live, tiny little grasshopper? Why? Because it has a use. What's the use? To give it to your kid. You can't give it to your kid because your kid might pop it in his mouth, and that's an aveira, the aveira of Balta Shaktu. So the Gemara says, Elo. Dilamayit. Now, the Gemara's main kasha is really so you see that the Tanakhama is not really worried that the kid's going to eat it, right? Because if he was worried, then it'll be a problem. So if he's not worried that he's going to eat it, so then let the Tameh one also be an issue. The live Tameh one, like Rabbi Yehuda. That's the Gemara is really asking. Because we're not worried that the kid's going to eat it. So the Gemara says, no. You know why you're not let it? You know why we don't keep a Tameh one for a kid? It's not because we're worried he's going to eat it. You're right. We're never worried that the kid's going to end up eating things. We're worried that it might die and he'll eat it. By the kosher one, if it dies, then he could eat it. There's no Baal Tashaktu. So what does Rabbi Yehuda hold? Rabbi Yehuda holds, Imayit kata mispit sapidle. If it dies, you know what the kid does? He says a eulogy. He says a hesped for it. He cries, he puts it in a little box, he buries it, he makes a whole tearful hesped. He's not going to end up eating it because that was his friend. And therefore, people do keep little grasshoppers for their children, even if they're not kosher, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Hardun Allah Omer Rabbi Akiva. Okay, Baruch Hashem.
But is this keeping them on Shabbat or not?
This is Bichlal, in general. That's why on Shabbat, that's why since it's a machloket, what's significant, what a person would keep. Therefore, it makes a difference for Hilchot Shabbat. Meaning, if you carry a little one, is there any significance to this little thing? So according to Rabbi Yehuda, there is. Because people use them for kids. According to Chacham, no, people don't use them for kids.
Isn't that trapping on Shabbat? No?
No, you're not trapping it. You're holding it in your hand. Are you allowed to carry it? You have it in a cup, for example. Chazak Baruch. Someone told me a pshat that